Good evening, everyone. This is Kelly. I'm back on a Sunday night, getting ready to crack open a box of the Topps 2026 Mega. 17 packs in a box, random hits, but economical when you consider if you're able to find them immediately in your standard store, your Barnes & Noble, your Target, your Walmart, maybe even your GameStop. If you're fortunate enough to have one in there, you can still pick up a few of them for $50 a pop. Secondary market has been really strong with all of the heritage product. I have a couple of vendors that I like to deal with online. The service has always been good, and when you're looking at hobby now at $199 a box, and in the megas on the secondary market at $75, we know that people are cracking these. We know that they're enjoying them, and as I shared with you the other night, I went through a couple of hanger boxes and some fat packs and did not pick up a single one of the 36 cards I needed in order to help with the set. So here we are on the Don Quixote mission or quest to complete the set. For those of you that had to read Don Quixote when you were in school, you know that it was a fool's errand. Also, in doing this and not really knowing what the heck we're doing other than just enjoying cracking some cards and seeing what happens, I'm moving that Scooble Aqua Sparkle that I pulled the other night in one of the packs and shared with you. That was probably the major hit. And of course, as I said earlier, I like left-handed pitchers, and so he's in the background. You can still see the insane Skeens auto pulled early on, and of course the Anthony image variation, a couple of heritage boxes in the back, a couple of minor leagues. I opened one of those 20s earlier this winter when there was still snow on the ground, and did get a couple of different Bobby Witts, a Duran relic card. Obviously those guys are in the majors now. Never really messed with minor league cards, but the price was right, and it was a lot of fun. And I really liked in the 2020 heritage the 1971 throwback variation. To me, that's also one of the harder sets from back in the day. You would look at the corners, make sure somebody hadn't inked it. You looked for a clean one. Obviously with Topps in the 70s, always decent centering if you could get it. Of course, when I was a kid, that really wasn't the big thing. For us, back in the old Alan Rose and Mr. Mint days, you were looking for 4 sharp corners, and centering was a different issue. And then, I was talking to friends, and actually was talking to my son, who is now in his 30s. He said, "Dad, you're going to have to break some different stuff and talk about things from the 80s. And he mentioned, and I found this just in the basement, the old 1982 Topps Kent Herbeck rookie card. And I remember when he was all the rage, even bigger than Ripken early on. And I'm pretty certain that 82 I just showed you actually came out of a grocery pack bought in Abilene, Kansas back in the day. And then, of course, talking about being a Royals fan, found this little nugget, the Greinke rookie. And hey, Jimmy Gobble wasn't bad, but obviously Greinke looks a little different back in 2004. But just a couple of random pulls. Greinke's one of those guys probably going to make the Hall of Fame. May not be first ballot, but probably should be. And again, I think all summer we'll talk about what the new pitching metric's going to look like for Hall of Fame status after this latest crew. And just so you know, this is an 07 heritage. Found that we busted a lot of heritage back in the day. It's Ubaldo Jimenez. And the only reason I bring up Jimenez is because back in, I think it was 2010, it might have been 09, we'd gone out to watch the Rockies Giants series because Randy Johnson was on his last run. And we thought we would catch Johnson in a 3-game series. Plus, Tim Lincecum was awfully good. And so we just thought we'd take a little trip. And I also was reminded that, if you want to make sure authentically opening these bad boys, I should show you the box. I don't think that, again, I'm not turning and burning and selling lots, so I'm not necessarily concerned about it. But here's that Mega. But we went out to go see Randy Johnson. Then, of course, he was injured, and he didn't start that weekend. But the Sunday afternoon game was Lincecum versus Ubaldo Jimenez, and Jimenez was throwing some serious heat. Lincecum had a no-hitter going through the fifth inning, and a couple of walks, a couple of dinks, and it all fell apart. And then we watched Ubaldo throw a complete game that day. It was pretty stellar. And so, obviously, the context clues that I'm giving you can tell from the Midwest. And tonight, though, we're going to bust open these 17. Who knows what we're going to get? Who knows if I'll get any closer? But at this point in time, I really don't care. I really just want to see what's in these packs. And I like a good hit as well as anybody. But, I still got 36 cards to go. And on the second set, I did get 2 cards for the second set, because when you've got as much of this stuff built up as I do at this point in time, yeah, you might as well try get close to the second set. Who knows? May get tired of it, may be close, and maybe somebody else will want to finish the task. But here we go with pack number 1 from the Mega Box. I can't tell you if this is one of the 4 that I picked up from the local Walmart. Happened to find them in there, and I get a little sick with it. It's like, well, somebody's got to have these 4 boxes. It might as well be me. Like I said, I picked up some in Target in Wichita, picked up some in Barnes & Noble. And as you can see in the background, I have quite a few. And we're going to start off just like we did the other night. We've got Bubba Chandler action. Cal Raleigh, this looks very familiar. And that's one of the weird things about the distribution. I've got several of these now. Kenley Jansen, Kershaw, Hall of Famer, left-hander, one of the all-time greats. Had a great moment in the All-Star game last year. What a blast that was. Randy Arozarena, don't know much about him. But he's been bouncing for a few years. But obviously, again, 77, it's all cool. Here we go with Yusei Kikuchi. Again, if I'm pronouncing some of the names wrong, I apologize. First chrome out. Freddie Peralta, looking pretty jazzed. Probably struck somebody out. Probably struck many people out. He's a super pitcher. We'll see how he does this season with his health. But pack number 1 is down. I'm still getting used to the mechanisms, mechanics of this thing, so that I can ensure that you get a good quality picture. I'm still working on that. Also trying to be comfortable, because, if you're not comfortable opening up cards and not having a good time, then why are we doing it? Here's Hunter Goodman to start. Rockies uniform. Trey Turner, Riley. Hey, Royal, Seth Lugo, and again, Royals can't seem to buy a win. They're playing, they're competitive, they're either hitting and then the pitchers are getting lit up, or pitchers are throwing great games and they score a run. I'm sure it'll turn around. It's early, but it's been a rough week to be a Royals fan. Zach Gallen, Jesus Sanchez. Well, Mike Piazza turned back the clock. Mike Piazza go charge the mound against Roger Clemens. Evan Carter. Base pack. Short print, I probably have it. We'll dig it out later, and we'll talk about whether I get it next week or not. And let's go on to the next pack. I kind of actually, in watching other people shoot these videos, I really kind of dig the sound of busting open the pack. And so you're going to get to hear it too. If that's really, really annoying, the feedback would be great if I can get some people to watch. Again, got Clemens the other night. Got Joey card. Talked about the Tops 1 situation. Kyle looks very similar distribution. Manny Machado. Lars Nootbaar. I just like to say that. And I am quite sure I do have him somewhere in the set, because I've said Lars Nootbaar several times when I open that up. Much like Davis Snyder's mustache. Every time you see it, you just kind of got to look at it and go, that's an interesting card. Kind of like the 1976 Oscar Gamble. And if you don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to 1976 Topps Oscar Gamble, you got to go look. That was some serious ownership of some seriously awesome hair back in the day. All right, here we go. Next pack. Max. Max got lit up. He did not have a great night. And there's Freddie Peralta again. Victory leaders. Andy Volpe, Hensky, Strider, Salvador Perez. So, is this guy a first ballot Hall of Famer? Not too many Royals. He's got a World Series under his belt. Over 300 home runs. heck of a catcher. The knock on him is lately he's not been throwing too many runners out. And of course, with Jensen coming up as the next catcher heir apparent, he's probably going to get some DH time. But Salvador Perez has put up real solid numbers for any catcher in the history of Major League Baseball. That'll be interesting to see if he lands and what year he lands. Lou, Jacob Young, the red variation, and then, of course, Jackson Holiday, who I understand, and I'm interested, A, because holidays are from Oklahoma, which is not very far, and B, I got an autograph out of random packs. And so, there's some connection. There's a desire to see him come back, but had a little setback after the surgery, and looks like early May before we might see Jackson Holiday and see what he can do in year 2. Well, Carlos Estevez, yep, another Royal. Always excited to see Royals. Wizenhunt. There's your stolen base leaders. O'Neill Cruz. Game 1 for O'Neill Cruz of the year when Skeens gave up the 5 earned runs, and O'Neill was soundly blamed, and probably appropriately blamed, for misplaying 2 fly balls. A lot of commentary about his future and whether it was time to step up. We got Jorge Soler, former Royal, Flaherty. Anyway, back to O'Neill Cruz. Have you paid attention to his stats since this game? He must have read about himself, because he's hitting the snot out of the ball. I think he's got 6, maybe 7 home runs, batting over 300, and Skeens has won his last 3 starts. So I think all is well as far as those 2 are concerned. And Kyle Teal, rookie, got a handful of those too. Again, I don't mind the duplicates. I enjoy it. We've managed to complete a couple sets back in the knots. 05, 06. Did the exact same thing. Spent a bucket of money on cards, chased random packs on eBay that we knew that had been pilfered, looking for the hits so we could get the packs cheap, and managed to build a couple of them. But it's a grind. It can be a real grind. Got McMahon in this pack. Hee-Sung Kim, Mookie Betts, not the variation. Mookie, likely Hall of Famer. And you'll notice in this particular box, these cards got a little weird bend. And again, I talked about the heritage, and I saw a video on one of the dealers and the guys that shoots some really cool videos in the breaks on some of the damage that he's experienced and the fact that a hobby didn't have a hit. And I don't want to complain, but he's got a valid point. And I think if you're going to spend $50 on 17 packs, you do the math, it's almost $3 a pack. I think that at that point in time, probably can have an expectation that your cards at least be reasonably centered and not dropped off of a conveyor belt. Will Smith, young catcher, nice job. We'll see how that plays out. No Salvador Perez, Naylor, and then of course Jose Ramirez on the Sparkle. And then here's another guy that, wasn't sure what was going to happen. And then he makes fantastic catch in the World Series, and he has started the year for the Dodgers on fire. Andy Pages, again, always careful in my pronunciations. It could be a speech impediment. But Andy killing it to start the year. And, of course, the Dodgers already look stupid tough. And it'll be interesting to see if they get back to the World Series and what they do with it. Seiya Suzuki, a good card. Isaac Collins, Langford. Haven't seen any interesting variations. Jesus Luzardo. Adele, pretty good number guy there, too, for the Angels. And he had a good series against the Yankees too, even though it was the Trout weekend. Kyle Freeland, and then Marcel Mayer got walked tonight in the 10th inning. I know this is coming out on Sunday, but I'm popping these on a Friday night when the Wet Red Sox beat the Tigers in the bottom of the 10th, and then Royce Lewis. Like I said, I'm looking for short prints, trying to build a set, but also those random hits that make it kind of fun. The usual chromes, some of the refractors. I wouldn't mind seeing a blue refractor, especially a Dodger or a Royal in the blue. That would be cool. Victor Robles, Hoffman, Peyton Tolley rookie. Good card to have. Interesting upside for this young man. Ryan Weathers, Burleson, Andrew Vaughn. Well, there you go. Now, I know that there's a handful of people within a 120-mile radius of me that if they don't own one of those, they'd be happy to own George Brett real card, ready action. It's interesting short print or interesting insert card. I like that they played with them. I like the player selection overall. And I do always like the nod to the greats. Clearly, Brett was one of them. You know, it's kind of one of those old, famous athletes. Everybody knew who George Brett was, even if they didn't know anything about baseball, much like they knew Reggie Jackson. He's just one of those guys. This is an odd thing. It looked like I might have a relic card in here. We'll get to that because it felt a little off. Either that or I got a missize, and I saw that in a video. Don't know if that's common. Chase Meideroth. Luke Keeschel, Barger, another big, huge component on the Blue Jays last year in their World Series run. Schwarber obviously hits a lot of home runs. Good card. Cowser, Emmett Sheehan. And the chrome of the day is Bradley Blaylock. And nothing unique going on there. The Savage card, again, we've talked about injury. Obviously, young guy. There's an interesting variation with this card, and I am not entirely sure on what that one is. And I've tried to pay attention because I don't like to get up and say, I don't know what the variations are. If I pop a banner or an all-star, or I've seen enough of the regular cards that I'm probably going to catch most of them. I don't know what his is, and I apologize for that. All right, Cole Wilcox. Again, showing you a little bit here. We got something going on in there. Byron Buxton. Vladdy. Anytime you get a Vlad Guerrero, Dad's in the Hall. He's got great numbers. Obviously, his talent speaks for itself. It came up just a little short. Jazz Chisholm Jr. All right. Well, you know what? A, I like Jazz. And B, anytime you get a Yankee card, whether you're a Royals fan or not, you know that somebody's going to want that somewhere. And then there's Garrett Crochet saying, this beard is outstanding, and why are you talking to me? But back to the Chisholm card, Clubhouse Collection, got the stripe in it, which makes it a little more interesting. I think for people that buy these things, obviously the variation, color, anything you can get to make that more interesting. The fact that he's a young Yankee and the Yankees are always successful. Well, there's your hit. There's your random mega box. Didn't expect it. Happy to have it. Yeah, it's not Cal Raleigh numbered to 77. Again, early on, I bought a lot of hobby, had a lot of fun with it, and, got some pretty darn good hits from it. And still, 36 cards short of the box. And here's something we finally have that we haven't. Now, I got a handful of them. I showed them to you. They had them in the background the other night. But anytime you get a Bobby Witt Jr., it's never a bad thing to have Bobby Witt. He's doing his thing with the Royals. He's consistent, and another 3 or 4 or 5 years of that consistency, then we'll start talking about him as a Hall of Fame candidate. Obviously, these guys in their early to mid-20s that are doing amazing things, you wonder, how long will the body hold up? Can they do it for 15 to 18 years? Can they put up the real numbers? Witt might be that guy. And just like in the 77 fashion, you can see this thing is not very well centered. That's all right. I'm still going to sleeve it up, hang on to it. We'll see what's going on. Somebody I know will want it. Maybe they'll trade me for one of the short prints that I need. Corbin Carroll, we caught a color variation of him the other day. Another young guy, huge continued upside, puts up great numbers. Chase Burns, that's a good rookie to have handy. Brett Beatty. Logan Webb, struggling a little bit. I mean, he's getting some Ks, but he's giving up some runs. I'm sure he'll get it straightened out, but I think he even pitched Friday night. It was either Thursday or Friday, and it wasn't ideal. And there's a Jose Ramirez red. We've already had a sparkle. And Herberto Hernandez rookie card. Yet no variations. I may have missed them. Maybe you'll see them in the video. We have got 6 more packs to go, and then that'll give me something to do this week after work. Will be to sort through them and then put them in the big 4-row multi-count box, and just put them in the pile and just sort them out. And a couple of these guys are going to do amazing things, and a couple of guys like Kent Herbeck, which you'll look at 20 years ago, I had high hopes for him. Hunter Green, McNeil, Dalen Lee, Mason Wynn, Quan, another Aaron Judge, got one the other night. Again, if you're going to have a lot of duplicates of superstars, never wrong to have Aaron Judge, clearly. Luis Castillo and Noel V. Marte. I got a boatload of him. If you're related or you are friends or have family, talk to me. Check out the corners of this pack if I can get it up a little closer. It's not showing up real clear, and I'm not going to mess around with this little iPhone and close it in. Again, my production values will get slightly better over the course of this adventure this summer. But again, some of these packs take a beating, and I know that there's some people that pay some big money for some very specific cards, and you see them in the cases, and the one card per box, 1 pack per box, spending $8, $9, $10, $11, $1,200. I think if I dropped that kind of dough, I would be deeply disappointed if whatever I pulled out of there was damaged in any way. Never go wrong with Nick Kurtz, second year. Is he gonna be as impressive as he was as a rookie? Don't know, but the A's interesting. They've got a couple of pretty good young players. Sometimes it's easy to dismiss. Get a couple more, maybe they end up like the Royals of the mid-teens, where suddenly they're extremely interesting, small market team, and surprise everybody. Jackson Joby, Alec, Sal Stewart, another rookie. I like this guy. I'm just going to put him in this wait and see pile. But got a few of them, like it. Cedric Mullins, My Red Car. Hey, there's Marcelo. I think that's the third one we pulled tonight out of this box in a very, very different flavor. And the Lindor, Francisco Lindor, obviously great player for the Mets. Standard all-star card. That's not the variation. Got a handful of him, not a short print. But again, you kind of want to pull the guys you want to collect. Down the road, the algorithm guys will be like, well, that's not very well short printed, so we're not going to have a lot of value. Well, either you're a fan of great players or you're not. Carlos Correa, Springer, AL Championship. But here's the card that I really like. I've got a couple of these, and we'll just talk about this for the very obvious reasons. One of the things as a kid, and when you got those leader cards, you got the rookies. Go back to Kent Herbeck. This was. You had the triple, in 78, you had quad rookies. 79, you had 79, 80, 81, 82, you had the 3, obviously the Ripken rookie, couple of other players. You liked the leader cards. They were interesting. And how often do you get Skeens and Skubal on the same card? Probably, and very possibly, more of these in the future, because these two guys are fantastic. Like I said, Skubal hasn't been great yet, but I think I have a lot of faith that he will be. Cavalli, Lane Thomas. We're going to have another Sparkle. It looks like a rookie of some sort. David Bednar. Brandon Sproat. And he's pitched a little. Saw his last start. I don't remember. It wasn't like he threw a shutout or had 12 strikeouts in 6 innings. I just remember being, it wasn't awful. And then Junior Caminero All-Star card. Again, no variation. We got that jersey, and so we'll go back and dig that one out real quick, because obviously Chisholm Jr., he is one of the Yankee stars. one of the reasons for their success. The likelihood, though, you know how it is. Lightning doesn't strike twice very often. So the likelihood of us pulling out anything significant like a chrome that's numbered, the blue variety, a black variety, or the orange variety, or a refractor like that's pretty limited. I think we probably hit the pay dirt, so to speak, that we're going to hit. And hopefully when I sort these, I'll find something to add to the set. Bradley Rodriguez, Denzel Clark, Dylan Dingler, doing great things catching. Again, saw his numbers up again. Michael Taylor from the White Sox. What are we going to do with Stanton here? Guy started the year with 453 home runs. Probably ought to get to 500. Can't do anything other than swing the bat. Can barely hold. I think I read that he couldn't hold a fork to stir his spaghetti. But man, the guy can hit. But then what do you do with him? Is the Hall of Fame going to put in a guy that spent the better half of his career as a DH and get 500 home runs? Because there's some guys that can hit the ball. But when he smacks it hard. It'll be interesting to see how it plays. And then let's just follow right up with Chris Sale. Here's a guy that, if he stays injury-free, has already had a great start for the Braves this year. He's getting a little older. He's going to get close to 3,000 Ks. In fact, I don't want to look at. We're going to be surprised. We'll talk about Chris Sale another time. Just know he's on my radar for the Hall of Fame, and we'll talk about why, I'm sure, before this summer is over. But let's see who's on the back. Owen Casey. Well, Mr. Sale, I appreciate you, but we're going to see what we've got going on next. Kyle Freeland. Here is a blue refractor, numbered to 150. Now, I like to go see the Rockies because, well, it's a great park. You can get a motel in downtown Denver. You can walk to a game. You can get a great place to eat. You can see great ball, and it's well attended, even though the owners, I would contend, maybe could spend a little more money. But Kyle Freeland, you are number 1 of 150. And so for you Rockies fans, should I ever get to that point where I start wheeling again, that'll be an interesting one. I shouldn't put you in front of Skeens because, Skeens is Skeens, but that's like a pretty doggone amazing hit for the random mega box. I'm tickled, and I've still got 2 packs to go. There really is nothing else to hope for other than somewhere in these 2 packs, the number on the back of one of these cards matches one of the 36 that I need to fill this set. In the meantime, we got Cal Raleigh and Kyle Schwarber. And again, we've already had the conversation. These cards are cool. And 20 years from now, Raleigh fans, Schwarber fans, they put up Hall of Fame kind of numbers. People that want to own a piece of this are going to pay the $15 to $20 to have it, because it's like, all right, I got 2 guys for 1, and I'm not paying rookie card prices. I'm not paying autograph prices, but I'm a collector and I'm a baseball fan, and I want something that represents those 2 guys. That's a good card. And yeah, we got a sparkle in here. We'll see what it is in a minute. Severino, Gleyber Torres, got a lot of him. No variations. I know one exists. All right, Alcantara. Same thing with Andrew Vaughn. Jack Leiter. A lot of good things going on there. I haven't paid much attention to his stats. Haven't looked at his age. Haven't looked at his upside yet. But I've seen his name a few times this spring, and I think that there's probably some reason to pay a little more attention to him. And here we go. Cannot even read the sparkle with the light that I've got setting up, but Otto Lopez for the Marlins is the refractor card. And then C.J. Abrams. The silver sparkle refractor is Abrams. And now we are down to our final pack, which is probably a good thing because I've popped this for about 30 minutes. But I've had a heck of a good time, and I hope that you will go out and buy some Heritage. I hope that you will continue to grow the hobby. And I hope that something random happens here just because I'm greedy. All right, Jared Jones, Shota, Managa, Yelich, steady numbers, Kate Horton. We got something here. Let's see who's on the back. I saw a guy do that. I don't know that Andujar. We're really kind of killing the suspense here. Cade Horton, Jackson Churio. Again, we'll see how healthy he remains all summer. Brandon Lowe. I'm not sure I've seen that. And Taylor Ward. The refractor, the final refractor. So, wow. 2 really cool hits out of 1 mega box. And, sometime I'll do one of those, hey, I spent $50 on this box. What kind of value did I get out of it? It's not the be-all, end-all. Again, I'm old. Thankfully, I've been privileged to be able to work and remain healthy, so I'm not dying. I'm looking forward to just playing with my cards. So the $50 is entertainment and also a little bit of passion, serving a passion. But we'll see what happens next Sunday night. We'll see if we get any closer. In the meantime, what a fun bust. Plan to do one of these once a week, every Sunday night until Series 2 Topps releases. And then we're going to play with that a little bit. And we'll play with a couple hobby firsthand. And then, of course, when Heritage Update releases, we'll have to do that too. Because if you remember your 75 Throwback 2024, Yamamoto and Skeens were the rookies in there. And those were fun hits. Take care of yourself. Play with your cards. Invite the friends. Invite the kids. Go catch a ball game. But until we meet again, keep cracking.